A smile can hide a lifetime of pain. For millions of Americans, Shelley Fabares was the bright, cheerful girl they welcomed into their homes every week. She became a television favorite before she was old enough to vote, recorded one of the biggest songs of the 1960s, and seemed to have everything a young star could dream of. But behind the fame was a story filled with heartbreak, loss, and a health battle so serious that it nearly ended her life. The real Shelley Fabares was far stronger than the public ever knew. In the early 1960s, Shelley looked like Hollywood's perfect success story. As Mary Stone on The Donna Reed Show, she became one of television's most familiar young faces. Viewers loved her warm smile, gentle voice, and natural charm. It seemed as if success came easily. Then, almost by accident, another door opened. Her recording of Johnny Angel was never expected to become a huge hit. Yet the song climbed to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1962, turning Shelley into both a television star and a music sensation. Almost overnight, she was appearing on magazine covers, performing for excited fans, and living a dream that millions of teenagers wished could be theirs. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But fame often shows only one side of a person's life. Behind the cameras, Shelley faced the same fears and pressures that many young performers experienced. Growing up in Hollywood meant living under constant attention. Every new role, every public appearance, and every career decision came with high expectations. Staying successful was never as easy as it looked. Unlike many stars who chased headlines, Shelley preferred a quieter life. She focused on her work instead of creating scandals. That decision earned respect from many in the industry, but it also meant the public rarely saw the personal challenges she was carrying. As the years passed, Hollywood began to change. New faces arrived. New styles became popular. Like many former child stars, Shelley faced an uncertain future. The fame that once seemed endless slowly became harder to hold on to. And that was only the beginning. Before long, she would discover that losing the spotlight was not the greatest challenge waiting for her. A far more painful chapter was about to unfold, one that would test not only her career, but her heart, her family, and eventually her very survival. What do you think is the hardest part about growing up in the public eye? Share your thoughts in the comments. Long before Shelley Fabares became one of America's most recognizable young stars, she was simply a little girl growing up in Southern California with a family connected to the entertainment world. Acting was not a distant dream. It was part of the world around her. Encouraged by her mother, Shelley began appearing in commercials and small television roles while she was still a child. At first, they were only brief appearances. Most viewers never noticed her name. But casting directors did. They saw a young actress who didn't have to force a performance. She felt real. She smiled naturally. She made every scene feel warm and believable. That simple quality would soon change her life. In 1958, Shelley landed the role of Mary Stone on The Donna Reed Show. It was the opportunity every young actor hoped for. Week after week, millions of families welcomed her into their living rooms. As America's television audience grew, so did Shelley's popularity. She wasn't known for being loud or dramatic. She represented something different. She was the friendly daughter next door. Parents trusted her. Teenagers admired her. Producers loved that audiences instantly connected with her. But that wasn't the real surprise. While Shelley was building her television career, nobody expected her to become one of the biggest singers in the country. According to Shelley herself, recording music wasn't even her main goal. Yet in 1962, she recorded a sweet love song called Johnny Angel. What happened next stunned almost everyone involved. The record shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, selling more than 1 million copies. Radio stations played it constantly. Fans rushed to buy the single. Suddenly, Shelley wasn't just a television actress. She was a pop star. The success happened so quickly that even she admitted she was surprised by it. While other singers spent years trying to earn a hit record, Shelley had become a chart-topping artist almost overnight. For a moment, it seemed like everything she touched turned into success. Movie offers arrived. Magazine interviews followed. Public appearances filled her calendar. She even appeared in several films with Elvis Presley, including Girl Happy, Spin Out, and Clambake. Working alongside one of the biggest stars in the world introduced her to an even larger audience and strengthened her place in Hollywood. From the outside, Shelley's future looked limitless. But Hollywood has always been a place where success can disappear as quickly as it arrives. By the late 1960s, the entertainment industry was changing. Musical tastes shifted. Television audiences wanted different stories. The innocent teen idol image that had made Shelley famous no longer fit the direction Hollywood was taking. Many young stars never recovered from that kind of change. For Shelley, it became the beginning of a difficult new chapter. She would soon discover that staying famous could be even harder than becoming famous in the first place. For many actors, reaching the top is a dream. Staying there is the real challenge. As the 1960s came to an end, Shelley Fabares found herself facing a problem that had ended countless Hollywood careers. The image that had made her famous as the sweet, smiling teenager no longer matched what audiences wanted. Television was changing. Movies were changing. Even music had taken a new direction. Almost overnight, the roles became harder to find. It wasn't because Shelley had lost her talent. Hollywood had simply moved on. For someone who had spent years in the spotlight, that kind of change could be heartbreaking. Many former child stars struggled with the loss of fame. Some disappeared from the industry. Others made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Shelley chose a different path. Instead of desperately trying to hold on to her teen idol image, she focused on becoming a better actress. She accepted that she needed to grow with the industry if she wanted her career to survive. It wasn't easy. The years ahead required patience, resilience, and the willingness to start over. Around this time, Shelley was also building a personal life away from the cameras. In 1964, she married record producer Lou Adler, one of the most successful figures in the music business. From the outside, they looked like one of Hollywood's golden couples. But appearances can be deceiving. Their marriage lasted for more than a decade before ending in divorce in 1980. Neither Shelley nor Adler publicly shared many personal details about the breakup, making it clear that some parts of life were meant to remain private. Even so, divorce marked another major turning point. Many people wondered whether her best years were already behind her. They were wrong. One of the biggest surprises of Shelley's career came when she proved she could do far more than play the innocent girl next door. Her powerful performance in the acclaimed television film Brian's Song earned praise from critics and audiences alike. It showed a deeper, more emotional side of her acting that many people had never seen before. Then came another opportunity. Shelley joined the cast of the hit sitcom One Day at a Time, introducing herself to a new generation of viewers. Later, she found even greater success playing Christine Armstrong on the long-running Comedy Coach. The role lasted for years and reminded Hollywood that real talent could outlast changing trends. Just when it seemed she had finally found lasting stability, life delivered a challenge that no amount of fame, experience, or determination could prepare her for. It didn't happen on a movie set. It didn't happen because of a failed project. It happened inside her own body. At first, the warning signs seemed small, easy to ignore. But they were the beginning of a devastating illness that would slowly threaten everything she had fought so hard to rebuild. If you're enjoying stories like this, subscribe now because the biggest twist is still ahead. Nothing in Shelley's career had prepared her for what came next. She had survived the pressure of childhood fame. She had rebuilt her career after Hollywood changed. She had found love again. But now she faced an enemy that could not be solved with talent, hard work, or determination. It began quietly. For years, Shelley dealt with health problems that became harder to explain. She often felt exhausted. Her body wasn't working the way it once had. Doctors eventually discovered the heartbreaking truth. She was suffering from autoimmune hepatitis, a rare disease in which the body's immune system mistakenly attacks the liver. It was a diagnosis that changed everything. Unlike an injury that heals with time, this disease can slowly destroy the liver. Without treatment, it may lead to liver failure. Shelley began taking medication to slow the damage, but the illness continued to progress. She rarely spoke publicly about the pain. Friends later described her as someone who faced each setback with remarkable courage. Rather than seeking sympathy, she tried to live as normally as possible, even as her health became more fragile. But that wasn't the real battle. As the years passed, her liver became so damaged that doctors reached a frightening conclusion. She would need a transplant. Finding a donor liver is never simple. Patients can wait months or even years, never knowing if the call will come in time. Every day becomes a race against the clock. Shelley knew exactly what was at stake. Then came another devastating blow. While waiting for a transplant, she suffered severe internal bleeding caused by complications of her failing liver. It was a life-threatening emergency that reminded everyone just how little time she might have left. For her family, every phone call brought hope and fear at the same time. Would a donor be found? Or would they run out of time? Thankfully, after a long wait, the call finally came. A matching donor liver had become available. The transplant surgery was successful, but recovery was anything but easy. Major organ transplants require months of healing, careful medical supervision, and lifelong medication to prevent the body from rejecting the new organ. Shelley later spoke openly about the incredible gift she had received. She expressed deep gratitude to the anonymous donor and the donor's family, recognizing that her second chance at life came because another family had experienced an unimaginable loss. Throughout the ordeal, one person rarely left her side. Her husband, actor Mike Farrell, became her strongest source of support. He attended appointments, helped her through recovery, and stood beside her during the darkest moments. Their relationship became a powerful example of commitment when it mattered most, not on a red carpet, but in hospital rooms and long, uncertain nights. Shelley's story also brought attention to the importance of organ donation. By sharing parts of her journey, she helped others understand how one decision can save lives. Have you ever faced a moment that completely changed the direction of your life? Share your experience in the comments. Sometimes, hearing another person's story can give someone else hope. Yet even after surviving a life-threatening illness, Shelley wasn't focused on returning to the spotlight. She had already discovered something far more valuable than fame. And in the final chapter of her story, that quiet realization became her greatest legacy. Some people are remembered for the awards they win. Others are remembered for the battles they survive. For Shelley Fabares, the greatest victory of her life had nothing to do with television ratings, hit records, or Hollywood fame. It was simply waking up each morning with another chance to live. After her liver transplant, Shelley slowly stepped away from the spotlight. The demanding schedule that had filled her younger years no longer mattered as much. Health became the priority. Time with loved ones became more valuable than another role or another public appearance. It was a different kind of success, and perhaps the most meaningful one. Standing beside her through it all was her husband, actor Mike Farrell. The two married in 1984 after years of friendship, building a relationship that lasted through both joyful moments and painful challenges. When Shelley became seriously ill, Farrell wasn't just a supportive spouse in public. By many accounts, he was there every step of the way, helping her through hospital visits, recovery, and the emotional weight that came with living through a life-threatening illness. Their marriage became a reminder that true love isn't measured during life's easiest days. It's measured during the hardest ones. But that wasn't the only legacy Shelley left behind. Generations of viewers continued discovering her work. Older fans remembered her as Mary Stone on The Donna Reed Show. Music lovers still smiled when Johnny Angel played on the radio. Others knew her from heartfelt performances in Brian's Song, while younger audiences recognized her as Christine Armstrong on Coach. Very few performers succeed across so many decades. Even fewer manage to do it while avoiding the scandals that often follow celebrity life. Shelley did exactly that. She built a reputation for professionalism, kindness, and quiet determination. Co-workers frequently described her as someone who came prepared, treated people with respect, and let her work speak for itself. In an industry where fame can disappear overnight, that kind of reputation is rare. Her health journey also left a lasting impact beyond Hollywood. By speaking about her experience with autoimmune hepatitis and the liver transplant that saved her life, Shelley helped raise awareness about organ donation. Her story reminded countless families that one selfless decision can give another person the chance to keep living. That message continues today. Thousands of people still wait for life-saving organ transplants. Behind every name on that waiting list is a family hoping for the same miracle Shelley received. Looking back, it's easy to focus on the sadness in her story. The career uncertainty, the failed marriage, the years of illness, the frightening wait for a donor. Those chapters were undeniably painful. But they weren't the whole story. Shelley Fabares refused to let tragedy define her. Instead, she adapted when Hollywood changed. She rebuilt her career when others counted her out. She faced a devastating disease with remarkable courage. And after surviving one of the greatest challenges imaginable, she chose gratitude over bitterness. That may be why her story continues to touch so many people. Because it isn't really about losing fame or facing illness. It's about resilience. It's about finding strength when life takes an unexpected turn. And it's about understanding that a person's greatest achievements are not always the ones the world applauds. Sometimes, the greatest victory is simply refusing to give up. For millions of fans, Shelley Fabares will always be remembered as the smiling young actress who lit up television screens. But for those who know her full story, she'll be remembered for something even greater. She proved that grace isn't shown when life is easy. It's revealed when everything seems to be falling apart, and you keep moving forward anyway. If Shelley's journey inspired you, or if there's another Hollywood legend whose untold story you'd like us to explore, let us know in the comments. And if you think this story was unbelievable, wait until you see what happened next in our next documentary.